for pets, you get a neutered male. And if you get it from here, it will be a bottle-fed friendly animal that has been handled by 500 people before. And
this one wants to have one.
yeah, you can own up to 4 as long as you do not display to the public for money, including monetize Facebook, TikTok, whatever else. You can own up to 4 exotic animals in the state of Tennessee as long as they're not on the Class 1 or Class 5 list. Class 1 is inherently dangerous to people or the environment. Class 5 is being held captive in the environment they're native to, like possum or raccoon or squirrel or something like that. Bobcat, cougar. I guess those would be on both lists.
Milk time?
I'd like a bobcat. Pretty sure it's not.
If you want to own a large cat, what it would be legal to own would be a serval.
Yeah.
There's
Again, I don't think my HOA would be okay with that.
I saw a,
sweetness.
I guess that's what I saw, a woman just had it on a leash at home, you guys just walk
A what?
a servant on.
Yeah. Yeah, servals can be friendly.
I was blown away.
All right, guys, so we are here with baby kangaroos. There's 2 different encounters you can do here. This is the bottle feeding babies. So we're going to talk mainly about baby kangaroos, kangaroo reproduction, gestation, such as that. The other encounter you can do here is the kangaroo encounter. That's when we see adult kangaroos. We talk mainly about grown-up kangaroos. So with the baby kangaroos, gestation for a female kangaroo is 33 days. Fertilization to birth is required 33 days. At 33 days, it gives birth to something the size of a jelly bean. It weighs 2 grams. It crawls on its own up to its mother's pouch and latches onto a teat. It does not let go for a minimum of 70 up to 90 days. During that whole period of time, mother is making something more similar to colostrum than milk because it is essentially nursing an embryo. You call it a semi-embryonic state when it looks like that. That is what a kangaroo looks like on the day that it's born and goes to its mother's pouch. So this, if you zoom in a little bit there, no back legs, no tail, that's its 2 tiny front feet, no eyes, just a mouth and 2 front feet. Crawls on its own to its mother's pouch. The kangaroo latches onto the mother's teat. It does not let go for a minimum of 70 up to 90 days. As long as it remains continuously latched on, mom makes colostrum instead of milk because she is essentially nursing an embryo. They call it a semi-embryonic state, not ready to survive in the world. So the mother continuously makes a chemical similar to pitocin, which is what you give to a human female to induce labor. A female kangaroo makes that every day of its life unless it is malnourished or dehydrated after its first pregnancy. So it is always looking to induce labor. When the baby latches onto the teat and it makes a second chemical that blocks the pitocin, so it doesn't just birth back to back to back. After the baby latches on and drinks milk for somewhere between 70 and 90 days, it will then start to nurse and release, nurse and release. That's what shifts mom from making colostrum to making milk. The baby will then continue in the pouch. The first time it will stick its face out of the pouch is 6 months of age. First time it will jump out of the pouch is 7 months of age. I need to add to my favorites thing, a baby with its head out. Kevin?
So these guys, how did it have the posture?
Not long. Well, the littlest one was July 12th.
Right.
The bigger one wasn't born here. It's about a month older.
Are y'all from Murfreesboro?
No, but it's one of my favorite places. No, still.
Okay. Alright, there's some other campers up there from Knoxville.
Oh,
We're from Nolensville, which is,
yeah, right down the road.
yeah.
It didn't exist when I was in Nashville. The
Yeah.
first time.
Yeah.
But yeah, from my son's kids through the high school.
Jumped
As soon as you take one out of the pouch, 2 days later, there will be another.
Just make sure you don't put your fingers inside of there, okay?
Oh,
Because sometimes they get a little snacky.
That's Phoebe before she was out of the pouch. So that's June 11th. She came out of the pouch July 12th. So the baby continues in the pouch. First time it sticks its face out of the pouch is 6 months old. First time it jumps out of the pouch is 7 months old. From 7 to 8 months, the baby can go in and out of the pouch. At 8 to 10 months, it's too big to fit in the pouch, so it will only stick its face in to drink milk. In the wild, at 10 months, they would be weaned. The males would be chased away from the group, the females would stay with the group. That's Phoebe the day she came out of the pouch. Alright, so that all sounds fairly normal for kangaroos. From there it gets weird. So kangaroos have 2 uteruses. Most marsupials do have 2 uteruses. The unusual thing for a kangaroo is a kangaroo is pregnant for all of its life after its first baby. It does have to be refertilized for each subsequent pregnancy, but with 2 uteruses and overlapping pregnancies, it will literally be pregnant every day of the rest of its life. The kangaroo, when the baby is born, it's the size of a jelly bean, it weighs 2 grams, so it is not a remotely traumatic birth. So if the female has either uterus open, she is in heat until she doesn't. So she generally breeds back same day, next day. So with 2 uteruses and at least a 2-day gap between deliveries, she will literally be pregnant every day of the rest of her life, with rare exceptions. The baby crawls up to the pouch, latches onto the teat. That's what puts the blocker on the Pitocin, right? So then it won't normally birth back to back. If the first one does not make it to the pouch, it takes 2 days to build up enough Pitocin in mom's system to reduce labor again. So 2 days later, fire 2, birth from the second uterus if the first one didn't make it. So every time it births one baby, it has 2 shots for one to make it to the pouch and be in the semi-embryonic state. So if the first one did make it to the pouch, what then happens to the second? Because it's pregnant in both, right? So what happens to the second is freeze frame in utero. It will not progress, it will not regress, it will remain exactly the way it is. It's called, I just lost my word, chemo brain. What can you do?
I get it.
Yeah, it's called, well heck, I'll think of it in a second. I say this 3 times a day. Chemo brain is a weird thing. You just suddenly lose words for no reason whatsoever.
Yep.
I'm better than I used to be. I used to drive with a note tape to my steering wheel telling me what city or state.
Embryonic diapause.
That's it. Embryonic diapause, yeah. Alright, so embryonic diapause. The baby will neither progress nor regress. Remain exactly the way it is from 33 days until forever. That could be days, weeks, months, or years. Since mom breeds back same day, next day, that means that within 2 days, if she didn't birth twice, she's pregnant in both uteruses. And within 30-some days, she has one on deck, ready to deliver both uteruses all of the time. There are 2 things that make a female ready to deliver again. A kangaroo is designed to birth as many babies as it can nourish and no more. So, if the female stops nursing whatever baby she's currently nursing, that takes the blocker off of the Pitocin, fire away, births again immediately, within a couple of days. Number 2, if the female gets overweight, that means that she could be nourishing more because she's overweight. So that will cause her to double up the production of Pitocin to bypass the blocker, and she will birth again immediately. But once 2 are both nursing, that doubles up the amount of blocker. It cannot possibly bypass the blocker twice. It can't have 3 babies at once. If the second baby comes up because mom is overweight over a long period of time, first baby may have already shifted from colostrum to milk. If the second baby comes up and needs colostrum, one teat starts over with colostrum, first one continues with milk. That's the only animal I'm aware of that can make two different products with its two teats at the same time. Yeah. The kangaroo females are not good mothers. They do not care about their babies at all. If the female were to have a mantra, that mantra would be, live to have more. At all costs, live to have more. She's being pursued by a predator and has a baby in the pouch big enough to slow her down, throw the baby down for bait and ditch. Live to have more. If the female is malnourished or dehydrated, it will throw its baby away and ditch. Live to have more. The kangaroos have a brutal but effective means of surviving droughts. So, what happens? The normal family group for kangaroos is 1 male, 50 females. So the male is statistically insignificant. So we're not talking about the 1 male, we're talking about the 50 females. They go into the drought 50 strong. A drought in a desert place, Australia, can last for a couple of years, even more. If they do poorly so as soon as the females all get malnourished, dehydrated, throw all of the babies away and the whole group ditch. Leave all the babies behind. So that puts a cap on demand on mothers' bodies to make milk. It caps the demand on whatever food source remains through the drought. So it gives the mob, the group of kangaroos, the best odds of surviving the drought as a mob. So, if the mob lasts as long as a couple of years, maybe half of them survive, right? So they go in with 50, end of the drought, they're at 25. A drought in a desert place normally ends with extremely heavy rainfall. Everything is lush and green suddenly when there's a heavy rainfall. So as soon as the drought is over, the kangaroos all begin to gorge themselves on all the suddenly plentiful, lush green food. Now, throughout the drought, they were not making pitocin. Malnourished, dehydrated, can't nourish babies, won't birth a baby, can't nourish, no pitocin is made. So, but they all have 2 on deck because they were pregnant at the start of the drought. They didn't deliver any, so they all have 2 on deck. So at the end of the drought, in a fairly short period, they are renourished, rehydrated, pick up making pitocin again. There's no blocker because they are not nursing anything. They all birth the baby near immediately. Within a couple of weeks, they're gorging themselves on all the suddenly plentiful, lush green food that they normally never get. They have never seen lush green food in their lives before. So they gorge themselves to the point of being overweight, so they all birth the second time. So that would mean their numbers would then have gone 50, 25, 50, 75. So they're not only larger in number, but they're stronger by individual and stronger as a population. Because the strong survive, the weak do not, and the weak not only don't survive, they're removed from the gene pool. So the strongest half of them all give birth to 2 babies that carry their genetics. So they come out of the drought stronger by individual and larger in number than they went in. If the drought is shorter and they do better through the drought, maybe that number goes 50, 40, 80, 120. If the group gets too big, it will split. But the normal family group is 1 male, 50 females. So that is why kangaroos are absolutely prolific in Australia, and that is why kangaroos and wallabies together outnumber humans at least 3 to 1 on the continent of Australia. There are several types of kangaroos. These are all red kangaroos. There are also eastern greys, western greys, desert kangaroos, and then a bunch of types of wallabies, and a couple other smaller types of kangaroos. But between the kangaroos and the wallabies, they outnumber people at least 3 to 1. Now, in America, we call these exotic animals. But exotic doesn't mean endangered, it doesn't mean rare. It just means not from here. In Australia, these are varmints and pests. If you were a farmer and you're about to receive your harvest and suddenly dozens or hundreds of kangaroos or potentially thousands of emus come up into your field and you don't get a harvest this year, you're not a fan of kangaroos. Actually, you could read about the Emu War if you were interested sometime, when the government of Great Britain undertook to eradicate emus and they failed miserably. No. All right, you guys keep playing with those. I'm going to cats. Since cats groom themselves with their tongues, it can be anywhere on a cat. And so you can pet a cat and then pet a kangaroo and kill the kangaroo.
It's also got, toxoplasmosis? Okay.
This is why, people prohibit not being around cats, really not.
Yes. Yeah, I was about to find this one.
At the time,
Well, that came, let it rock.
Yeah, pregnant women can be sensitive to it at 15,000 parts per million. Fatal to a kangaroo at 5 parts per million. All right, if you guys want to sit in these 4 chairs, I'm going to take your phones and make a video for you.
Oh, yay.
This morning was using your husband's phone, taking pictures of the wrong group. I'm like, well, you'll have to explain your wife why I have pictures of weird women on your phone. But, all right, so these 2 are for the shorter 2. These 2 are for the taller 2. So let's get them lined up right. So he goes here. No, not that one.
Hi, sweetie.
She goes here.
Hi, baby.
And she goes here.
There's a camera.
There we go. Camera. And what's everybody's name?
I'm Terry.
Julie. Oh,
What?
right there. Julie.
Lily?
Sandra.
Again? Tara?
Terry.
Terry?
Julie.
Julie? Lily? Sandra? Terry, Julie, Lily, Sandra. Here we go.
All right.
All right, video going. Hey guys, we're here at the baby kangaroo bottle feeding at Ocoee Riverside Farm. We're here today with Terry and Julie and Lily and Sandra. Terry is feeding baby kangaroo Ruby. Ruby is 15 months old. Lost the name.
Julie.
Julie is feeding baby kangaroo Max. Max is also 15 months old. Lily is feeding the baby kangaroo Rachel. Rachel is 10 and a half months old. And Sandra is feeding baby kangaroo Phoebe. Phoebe is 9 and a half months old. Phoebe came out of the pouch July 12th. Today is October 9th, 2025. These kangaroos are all red kangaroos, but the redness of a red kangaroo is a male hormone-driven trait, so the females turn the bluish-gray color right away when they leave the pouch. The males remain red throughout their life unless they're neutered or very old. The 2 taller ones here at 15 months, the female Ruby weighs 28 pounds, the male Max weighs 31. The 2 smaller ones, Phoebe, that Sandra is feeding, weighs 11 pounds, and Rachel, that Lily is feeding, weighs about 15 pounds. Nutritionally, these guys only need the bottles out to 10 months, but socially, the longer you feed a kangaroo a bottle, the friendlier kangaroo you will have. So we feed our kangaroos bottles here all the way to 18 months old. These guys are all going to be living here on the farm except for Max. Max is going to go be a stud kangaroo at another farm. It is October 9th, 2025. We are at Ocoee Riverside Farm, Benton, Tennessee. Take some stills. Try to get the right phone. This is your phone. Go for a second. Get the 2 of you. Go this way. And Lily. Two of you.
Oh, she is going around. This thing is going to be dying by the time.
How long will Max be here?
Max comes from a breeder out in Bush Creek. He actually is the breeder that I got most of these kangaroos from. Our adult male outside does a thing. You walk up and say, "Who's good boy? Who's good boy?" He gives you a kiss. That's very, very unusual for a breeder male. And he has a breeder male that just about ended his 2 very large sons. And yeah, his his sons are first team All-State, one's the center, one's the left tackle, big boys. And his kangaroo, I took them both out, and he saw my, who's a good boy, so he sent me one to race for him, so that he could have a friendly breeder male too.
Right.
So, the males don't start to breed until they're 3.5 years old, but we'll end his bottle feeding around 18 months. Just, want to send him back, friendliest kangaroo we can.
Absolutely.
And, the other ones here, they will end at 18 months because the female kangaroos have to be bred before they're 2 years old. The female kangaroo doesn't complete the development of its reproductive system until it becomes active. And if that doesn't happen before 2 years old, they will be an old maid forever. They will lose the ability to complete the development of the reproductive system, and they will never ever have a baby. You gotta stop her from sucking here.
Okay. Yeah, because she's gonna crawl on my lap and just keep going.
Yeah, she would.
My sweetness, she's still gonna crawl on my lap.
The main lap sitter is this one.
I love this.
If you want to hold her in your lap, you actually could feed her like a baby, and she would sit for it.
I think Ruby's about to take out Max. We're gonna go back. That is so. Oh my goodness.
Alright, I got it.
I got you.
You can just press it.
Ready? We're gonna try to keep this off. Max is off.
Max doesn't get in a rush because nobody's taking Max's bottle.
Oh, Ruby, you try.
Ruby knows over there, but she's not going to get it.
Here, push it down.
She's kind of small, though, with a big kangaroo.
Okay.
in her lap.
So you gotta get a little bit.
And with the little one there, it still is a nutrition. The other ones miss their bottle, it's not that big a deal. If she misses her bottle, I'll have to figure it out later.
We'll have that super.
Yeah,
We would do that, we would take one for the team.
right.
Do you spell Ruby ROOB?
I have no idea. Max and Ruby, and Max.
Let's not do it in the air.
The oldest one is Tough. I bought Rough already named, and I'm like, what goes with Rough? And then Damani and Loris, because my son-in-law's in the Air Force in Aviano, Italy. My daughter named those two, so that's how we got Damani and Allure. And we accused her of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Those are both conversational words. So Allure is like, yeah, right, I'm with you, whatever. It's the I'm with you in the conversation word. Allure.
Attention,
Yeah. And Damani is maybe later, by and by, when I'm darn good and ready, something like that. And that is the way those two behave. And they were named before we knew at all how they behaved. And Rosie and Josie, it was because Rosie was still red when she came here, and it's extremely rare but possible for a female kangaroo to remain reddish. And so we thought we might have a red female, but we don't.
Ruby's going to time out.
And
Do it going to time out.
and then Tom and Jerry, they chased each other all of the time. When they were little, they always chased each other. And I'm like, oh, those two are like Tom and Jerry running around. And
I love that you
Then-
name them after you say their personality.
yeah, well, except Damani and Laura, that just worked out that way. And then Ruby and Max, it was a Facebook. What do you guys think to name this one male, one female kangaroo? And then Phoebe, it was the runs weird.
Yeah.
And now they're telling me I have to learn how to say, what you doing?
How you doing?
What is
How
it?
you doing?
How you doing?
That's it.
Yeah, something like that. I have to learn that before we have another male kangaroo, so it can be named
Joey.
Joe, yeah.
Joey and Chandler. Runs and Ross. So how do we get like an obsessive compulsive word and thing like that?
This is true.
And she's like, all right. You guys get this.
Tom and Jerry now live at Our Life Adventures. People that have 10 monkeys that live in the house.
Oh, where is that in here?
You can watch them on YouTube like every day, but it's not a public place.
Hi, sweeties.
And they don't want me to say because they don't want people showing up at their house.
Do you have a baby llama and a baby alpaca over here?
Yeah, the gray one is fox, he's the fox with socks. And the other gray one is white, is the alpaca, that's fox and socks. And the other one is Liza Minnelli.
Nice.
Gotta be close to my age to get the Liza Minnelli reference with the unibrow.
We went to an alpaca farm last month, for a little farm tour, because they make their own yard on site. And so we took some pictures of some of them, and of course, I work with teenage boys in a high school that all have that same haircut, so I got one of them to post with the
Right.
picture on my phone of the alpaca, and we sent it to his mom, and we're like, who wore it there?
They will have that hair.
They did, and it was hysterical, he was like,
People are all discouraged with me because we don't keep the fibers so really. Because we don't wash them and brush them first, and when the guy comes here to shear everything, he shears everything on the whole farm in 2 hours. And, yeah, he is great. So, well, I talked about that on the farm tour, but when I first had a llama I needed to shear, it took me 3.5 hours to shear one llama.
well, yeah.
And it took the professional 4 minutes and 7 seconds. So we're very happy for him to show up here once a year and share everything on the farm.
But man, you make a killing on that yarn, so that's even more better.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Right.
The word best, yeah. I have